So we were reviewing the anime Orange. I watched 3 episodes of this show, and I thought it was quite good. Through 3 episodes, maybe a little slow pace for some viewers. But
fair justification.
But I felt that it was working towards something in all likelihood.
And it was.
And I only watched a third of it or fourth of it.
And that something is Suwa is bro.
Suwa is the real MVP.
Did I not say that? Did I not say, Chiaki, I was like, why does she like Kakeru? Like, Suwa is the shit.
Basically that feeling is unanimous. Like, so my experience watching Orange, and we'll get into all the technical stuff in just a moment, but my experience watching Orange was like, oh, okay, it's going to be love story between the main character, what's her face, Naho, and Kakeru. And then as the anime went on, I basically turned into a ball of, I just want Suwa to be happy. None of them deserve him.
Exactly. There was a point where I was like, I'm watching it and I'm crying. And can I just, before we get into the technicalities of this is the anime I have probably cried the most in like consistent episodes for. Like, I think from episode 8 on, there wasn't a point in which I didn't cry in every single episode.
They definitely got the waterworks going.
They tug at the heartstrings. But there was like a point where I was like, I just want Naho and Suwa to be together. And then I was like, no, not even Naho deserves him. But
Naho definitely doesn't deserve him. All right, so let's go down this for a minute. So Orange, technical things. Orange is based off of a manga. Manga was written by Ichigo Takano. It started in 2012 and ran to August 2015. It was 5 volumes, and it is completed. And I think you can tell how that benefited the anime, because the anime knew exactly where the starting point was, exactly where the end point was, and I am one of the people who disagree with Mitsugi, where I thought that the pacing was actually really great.
Completely.
Orange juice.
And because the anime really, it knew where it was starting and it knew where it was ending up, and it kind of had these separate arcs where there were different things that they set out to do, and as soon as they accomplished that thing that they set out to do in one arc, they moved on. It created kind of a new problem that they then set out to do. So the anime television series started on July 3rd of this year, which is 2016, in case, you're listening to this in the future, and ran until September 25th. There are 13 episodes, and since then, it has inspired an anime film, which is Orange Future, and there has also been a live action film. So, or will be a live action film. I don't know. I've seen a bunch of stuff about this franchise. So, it is something that is quite popular and has been quite successful.
Cal would love this anime.
Cal?
You go, Orange, I do.
God.
Why are you grabbing yourself when you do that? That's my
I just
question.
felt like it.
Is as you were saying that, like, you're slowly grabbing your crotch. I don't.
Because it's orange soda. It's like a sexual experience.
What? Kel loves orange soda.
He does.
Is it true?
Chiaki doesn't even know what I'm talking about.
You're talking about Keenan and Kel.
You should have said I do. I do.
I'm
just constantly confused by the male urge to grab your genitalia, because that never happens. This is a tangent, but that never happens to me. I don't know if that happens to you, Kimiko.
It does not. But the closest thing that I can think of is occasionally having the desire to grab my own boobs.
Yeah, but you never do it in public.
Well,
Technically, I'm standing
in
my own residence at the moment. So, excuse
Broadcasting
me,
live.
I will grab my junk if I damn well please, and I do. Ooh.
Okay.
So, going back to Orange.
So the director of this show was Hiroshi Hamasaki. Honestly, looking at the staff, I don't know why this show was so good. The only other directorial credits he has,
Probably the writing for the manga,
is Blade and Soul, as well as Iron Man: Rise of the Technovore.
No.
Which was not a very good thing. Shigurui He was also the director on, I don't really know, Steins Gate. There we go. Something that didn't suck.
The best anime ever made.
Well, yeah.
Wait, sorry. No, it is now the third best anime.
Wait, Steins Gate and Iron Man share a director? Can the entire anime community just let that sink in for a moment? Okay. So that was the director. The script writer for the show was Jamie Marchi.
Wait. Jamie Marchi is a voice actor for Funimation.
Well, she did script. I don't know if that was English script.
She had to have done the English dub
It had to have done the English dub script. She's just a credit. Oh, yeah, there's a Yuko Kakahara. I'm sorry. My bad. The Japanese script was done by Yuko Kakihara, and she did... What?
You said cocky.
Where is your mind today, Mitsuki? To quote the Pixies.
In a special place.
She did script on an anime called Sakamichi no Apollyon. Just to...
Wait. That's
Kids on the
Slope. Holy crap!
Yeah. So it has popular source material. It has stuff behind it. It has good things.
And the dub's not that bad either.
Yeah. Oh.
We don't get a lot of really decent dubs out anymore. That one's a good one.
Oh. Well, that's good to know. I probably won't watch it dubbed because that's not my jam.
Well, yeah, but like if you have a friend who doesn't watch subs or if you personally prefer dubs, know that this one actually has a pretty good one to back it up.
And the studio behind the show is TMS Entertainment. So now that we have covered the technicalities, do you want to give a plot overview or do you want me to kind of give a loose plot overview and then we can get granular on this shit?
You go ahead because I'm afraid I'm going to spoil too much stuff.
Okay. All right. So our main character, as I mentioned before, is Naho. And the anime actually opens with 5 friends as they're digging up a time capsule. And in this time capsule, they all have letters that they wrote to themselves. And they start reading their letters. And the entire anime flips between their adult selves and their actual kind of high school selves. And in the high school self world, the high school selves get letters basically from the future that explain that they're writing themselves from the future and they have these regrets that they want their high school selves to fix. And what you find out is all of their regrets center around a transfer student, Kakeru. And Kakeru, in the very beginning, not a spoiler, you find out that he is not with the 5 of them. And he is not with the 5 of them because there was an accident in which Kakeru died. And very early, honestly, I thought you found it out in the first episode, but I actually think you find it out closer to episode maybe 2 or late 2, 3. But I knew because Ichigo Fields, who's one of our listeners, kind of said this, and I think that it helps knowing it going into the series, so it's a small spoiler, but it's a spoiler that helped me kind of stick with this show from the very beginning. Basically, you find out that what they all presume to be an accident of Kakeru's death, his letter in the time capsule basically alludes to the fact that he knew he was going to die. He knew he wasn't going to be there with them in 5 years. And that then, again, as time goes on, they begin to realize that was it an accident or probably more likely did Kakeru kill himself? Or even if it was an accident, could they have prevented the course of events that led to Kakeru being in that place and time? So that is kind of my overall, maybe a little bit of spoilers, but like I said, I liked having that knowledge going into this show because it really put weight. Otherwise, and this was something Mitsuki and I were talking about with the first couple episodes he watched, otherwise it seems like all these petty things of like, I wish I made a lunchbox for him. I wish I encouraged him to join the soccer team. And they seem quite inconsequential, but when you put it in the framework of they are potentially, probably, literally trying to prevent someone from killing themselves, it has a lot of weight. It has a lot of power. Way more
impacting. And one of the things that I love best about this, and that's to go back to what Chiaki was saying in regards to the manga, having such a set beginning and middle and end before making the anime has allowed them to do quite a few subtler details.
Yes.
Or throw in more nuances that when you watch it the first time, and at this point I've seen most of it twice because I wanted to go back and see if there were any of those nuances that stuck out, which sometimes you see them kind of flash back to, which is good. There are nuances that you don't really catch the weight of or the importance of until you get 7-8 episodes in, where you find out, oh man, they really should have listened to that part of the letter, sort of thing. And you start to kind of understand more aspects of how some things can't be changed, and how some things, if they are changed, are better for it or worse for it, or how you feel like just because you can adjust this one minute detail doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to fix the ultimate thing that you're trying to get to. And every single thing you do, because of that notion of possible failure, makes it feel like even just making him a lunchbox might be so important.
Yeah.
So like,
and you really, what I think is really cool, again, to your point and all this foreshadowing thing, I think the first half of the show focused a lot more on Naho, and Naho kind of coming into her own and deciding that she wanted to do this and whatnot. And in the second half of the show, you get a lot more from Kakeru's perspective, even going back to the beginning of the show.
yeah.
And you find out a lot more of what was going on with him. Because in the first half of the show, it's very much from Naho's perspective, and you don't really know what's going on with Kakeru. And then in the second half of the show, you almost get a little bit more of stuff from Kakeru's perspective. And him, kind of what he was going through, and all of these little things that, again, using the lunchbox as an example, why that ended up being important, or with other things maybe ended up being not as important. One of the things that I really love that you did touch on, Kimiko, was how this anime kind of handled the whole future changing thing, where there were times, one thing that I really appreciated was a moment, and I want to say it's episode 3, where Naho breaks down a bit, and she's like, it's really easy, me in the future, for you to look back and say, don't do this. But me in the moment, it's a lot harder for me to, work up the courage, or you can't change yourself as a person overnight just because you have a letter from the future, or
Exactly.
a letter that says do this. Even if you really want to and you're really trying, it's not that easy. And that was something that I really appreciated. And I also really appreciated how when they changed things, sometimes things they changed didn't really end up being important, and sometimes they ended up being really important. But there was, throughout the whole show, there is, and this becomes really, really apparent as the show goes on, is that even if you get a happy outcome in some way, you're giving something else up. It's like there's no ultimate end that is truly, quote unquote, happy, in the sense where everyone has everything they could ever want. And
Yeah.
Suwa is bro.
and Sue is
We're
the real
going to keep
MVP.
coming back to that.
And I also liked that, and this was something that I was really worried about, and I'm not going to go into too much detail of it because it's not necessarily a spoiler, but
We'll have a spoiler section.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, there are a couple of things I feel like you might have already spoiled, but I'm not going to bring it up until we hit the spoiler section in case nobody noticed it but me. So there is an aspect that I really enjoyed where they tried to put basis beneath a lot of what they were talking about. Like, there's even I think it's episode 4 maybe, where they're in science class.
I want to say it's a little further. I want to say it's 5, but
Is
yeah.
it 5? Where they're in science class and they're learning about things like parallel worlds and parallel dimensions, and the whole concept of things happening based off of like string theory. You make a decision and it spawns off into 5-6 million other timelines where you
Quantum.
made the different decision.
What you're looking for is quantum.
Quantum. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I liked that by putting a legitimate basis beneath it, it kind of gives more weight. And as I thought that while watching the show, you kind of see the realization on Naho's face when she realizes, no matter what I do here, if there's no way, because of the whole concept of paradox, if you change what happens here based off of, let's say you read the letter and you change something and ultimately a successful future is changed, your future selves no longer have a reason to write those letters. Everything becomes
it's a parallel situation where they establish that there is a universe in which they didn't do the things, and that universe will always exist.
Exactly.
And then there's a universe in which they did do the things, and that universe will also always exist. So it's the realization that no matter what they do, they will never erase the regrets of themselves in the universe where they didn't do the things, because that universe will continue on.
Exactly.
That will continue to be a thing, just as their universe is.
And that almost adds another level of heaviness to the already increasing levels of heaviness that show offers. It's like just weight on top of weight on top of weight of every emotional aspect that this show is trying to throw at you all at once. And it unfolds beautifully.
But I will say, at its core, this show is a character-driven show. This show is not, I wouldn't say, really a plot-driven show, because the plot at its core is, can we save Kakeru? That's really kind of the plot at its core. But what drives this show and what makes it engaging is how the characters deal with knowing what they know, deciding what to do, coming to terms with what they want and what they might have to sacrifice to get what they want. And, the fact that regret is something that you are always going to have to live with no matter what you do. Like that is the driving forces of this show. It's not the plot being, from a boiled down story perspective. And it's also not, I would say, and this is why I'm bringing it up, the pseudoscience behind this of how they got the letters, which I will say, when I look at this story from a character-driven perspective, I love it. I love this anime. I love the thoughts and the emotions that are wrenched out, what they tackle. When I look at it, when I try to apply logic to it, it really hurts my head. And I'm going to, Mitsuki, if you want to play the spoiler drop, I can use this as a segue into spoilers, but this is one of those things that I don't think is a real spoiler because it's not actually important.
But before you do, really quick.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Okay, so I agree and disagree with you, because you're right. The pseudoscience doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the show in and of itself. But I do really appreciate that they gave us an answer as to how the letters got there.
I agree that they... And I also agree that they looked at it and they said, look, this isn't what the show is about. We're not going to spend too much time on it. We're basically going to say, science magic.
Yeah.
Because the explanation of how they got the letters is quite literally the Bermuda Triangle.
Yep.
It's quite literally, we're going to address letters to ourselves, put a year on them, deliver to myself their name, year, and hope that they get there. They don't even explain, do they mail it to the Bermuda Triangle? Did they fly over it and chuck it into the... They don't explain that.
I think they imply that they just, gave the letters to somebody who was like going to be on a boat going through the Bermuda Triangle, and I'm like, is that person supposed to deliver the letters? Do they tell them this story? Does that person expect to never come back from 2016?
Yeah, I mean, it was, well, no, I think they basically said that if the letters go back, they put the date on the letters so that science time magic would know where to spit out the letters in time.
If the letters show up in like 2010, somebody holds on to them for 6 years as a joke and then mails them.
Like how the letters get there. Well, I do appreciate that they gave a reason, and I also can agree with the fact that they didn't spend too much time on it because
like any time at all.
Or like any time because that wasn't what the show was about. And I think it would have been time wasted if they spent more time trying to explain it. I also will say the explanation is total bullshit. Complete bullshit. And then compounding on the things that make my head hurt if I try to logic through the logic of what's going on in this show. And I think someone in the chat said this, and I apologize that I missed your name to give you credit as well. I don't understand why they didn't just at the front of the letter explain why they think that thing would have been. I mean, they did explain that, like, they don't think Kakeru was going to be there, but like I feel like they should have done a lot more prefacing up front. Like, for example, they find out before they write the letters in the future, spoilers, they find out before they write the letter in the future that the day they invited Kakeru out was the day his mother killed himself. So why didn't they just write, this is what they wrote. I really don't want you to invite Kakeru out today. No, really.
This is important. Seriously, don't invite him out today. But they give no reason why.
Yeah. And if I was writing a letter to myself, I would probably be like, hey, yo, his mom kills himself because he ain't there.
Now here's the one thing that I can kind of devil's advocate about with that. I feel like if they started the entire letter, because that's where the letter starts.
Yeah.
There's a little preface that's like, hey, I'm you from the future and I need you to do something for me. But the start of like the steps they need to follow, it begins with that one thing.
Yeah.
Don't invite Kakeru out. And I feel like if they started the entire letter out with like, yeah, Kakeru's mom kills himself, and then later he kills himself. Like, if they go too heavy too quickly,
yeah, but there were other things of like, you're gonna make this for lunch, you're gonna wear this, you're gonna have a student, he's gonna sit next to you. Like it is step 6, and at that point, you have so many other things right that if I got a letter from the future and so many other things were right, and the one thing was like, his mom is gonna kill himself today, don't invite him out, I'd probably be like, you know what, bro? Tomorrow. I'm not going to take this chance.
But that's
tomorrow.
The thing, though. The way that the letter sets out, she says, you know, hi, I'm you from the future. I just need to let you know you're going to be getting a new transfer student, and his name is going to be Kakeru, and he's going to be sitting right next to you. Congratulations. And it happens. But then the literal next thing is that don't invite him out. And can you imagine sitting there and being like, what the fuck is going on? This is really crazy. And then you see his mother kills himself if you invite him out today. I wouldn't want to probably, number 1, read the rest of the letter. Number 2, maybe interact with Kakeru at all. Like, it would freak me the fuck out.
Well,
pardon my French.
I would probably not take the chance, though. And if his mom doesn't kill himself, then... Because the whole reason why he ends up ultimately trying to kill himself is because
his mom kills himself.
Herself, yeah.
Right, sorry. Mom kills herself.
But I don't know. Like if that is the root of Kakeru's guilt, which is why Kakeru tries to kill himself and succeeds in the adult timeline that we see in the anime. So if his mom doesn't kill himself or kill herself, if his mom doesn't kill herself, problem solved?
Maybe, because we know that the mom was not cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
the likelihood of maybe they don't invite him out that day and then they proceed to be friends with him or don't proceed to be friends with him and something happens. You never know what could have pushed her over the edge later.
Yeah.
And then they don't have that friendship already built up beneath them because they didn't have all the interactions in between. Like, to go outside of the it's
But they
pointless
already-
to kind of speculate about something that didn't happen.
Yeah, but they did try to clearly prevent his mom from killing herself because they said, don't invite him out, aka we want him to be there, aka she might not. The point I was originally trying to make, and I'm glad that we got into all of this because it illustrates it further. If you try to logic what is going on in this anime too much, it falls prey to the time travel.
Ow.
It starts to make your head hurt.
The time travel ouchies.
The time travel ouchies. And that's not the point of this show. The point of this show is not the fact that they're trying to change time in the most effective way. The point of the show is not how the letters got to them.
It's character development.
It's character development. And so my kind of preface to everything is just accept it. This show is good enough that it is so worth just saying, okay, they got the letters because science magic, and they wrote the letters in the way that they wrote the letters because story magic.
plot magic.
Plot magic, which it sounds like I'm about to rip on this show because usually if you have something so core to the plot being explained with plot magic, I will probably think it's terrible. But I really think this show was amazing.
It's fantastically done. I feel like it's rare to see a show that is in some way involved on a supernatural spectrum. Like, very obviously, outside of the letters being time travel letters, the story itself it takes place in high school between a bunch of people who are trying to understand themselves and understand each other and
do shitty things to each other sometimes.
Yeah, and make they make mistakes which really kind of influence the entire situation that they're trying to prevent. Like when Naho's reaction to reading, and again, this is still part of the spoiler thing.
Well, we're in spoiler territory.
Yeah.
We're far.
When Naho reads inside the eraser, because in her letter she tells herself when she lends Kakeru an eraser, he puts a note in it, and she didn't find it until it was too late, that asks her if it's okay for him to say yes to a girl that asks him out. And her response to that, which she wouldn't have done because she'd have never found it before, is to write no on the back of it and put it in his shoe. But if she had just found him and talked to him instead of leaving it to fate, she probably could have prevented it. But because she is Naho and doesn't interact face-to-face very well because she gets embarrassed too easily, she puts it in his shoe and he doesn't see it until later.
And she also... He had said when other girl had asked him out, he had until the end of the break to decide. And then other girl cornered him. So he technically, one, yes, she should have just been like, hey, yo, no. But two, she really did think that she had more time.
True.
One thing I did like talking about Other Girl was I really did like how they did introduce the secondary love interest, the faux love interest, but it wasn't, and I use faux as in FOE, like a challenger.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a thing for the entire show. It was a thing, it resolved, and while it wasn't ignored, it also wasn't the focus anymore.
It was a realistic impact, I think, because even when it's resolved and she doesn't quite go away, the way that she doesn't go away, the way that she still continues to interact with the main characters is very realistically high school.
Yeah.
So it's not like she is a little mini antagonist put in there just to I don't know, give them someone to fight against. She's actually, she's an upperclassman who got scorned, and she's going to continue to attempt to scorn herself. Like, it's very realistically done. And despite all of the supernatural, everything about this is very realistically handled as well.
Yeah.
It's specifically, like you said, to go back to the concept of you can't change things about yourself just because you know what's going to happen. Like, that's an incredibly prominent like self-actualization.
The final thing that I'm going to say, because we are in spoiler territory, and really it's not a spoiler. You kind of know this from the beginning, but it gets hit home so hard, and it's the reason why I say Suwa is bro. If you watch this anime for one reason, watch it for Suwa, because in the future that they write the letters from, he and Naho are married and they have a child, and you know he is very, very happy. And later
very
on,
in love with her. Very in love with her.
and you find out later on that Suwa got his. At first, you think it's only Naho, and then you find out they all got letters from themselves in the future.
That's the one
And-
spoiler that I was like, no, don't say it, because you said they all get letters too, and I'm like,
That's
no,
true.
we didn't find that out until episode 7.
That's true. That was my bad. But you find out that Suwa got a letter, and in his letter, it does explain that he ends up with Naho, and they have a very happy life. And he is literally the entire time supporting Naho and Kakeru when he knows that that is, one, the woman he currently loves, and two, the woman he ends up marrying and having a happy family and future with. And he could have all of that if he just chilled. And he doesn't chill. And Suwa is life.
Oh my god.
All right, ladies.
Suwa.
All right. You want to score it? It's hard to think of Suwa and give it a bad score.
Honestly,
Do it for Suwa.
I can't not. The way that they handled it, the beginning, middle, and end of it, the character development of it, Suwa, the very, very end of this anime, and how many times I cried, and also Suwa. I know we just talked about how we score things more harshly, but I loved this anime so much and thought it was so brilliantly done that I'm giving it a 5 time travel letters out of 5.
Okay. I'm going to look at it and I'm going to say what it does is 5 out of 5 in the sense of what it looks at in the terms of regret and in the terms of coming of age and whatnot. But I cannot give something a 5 out of 5 that has plot magic and science magic that then relates to plot magic. I also, other things I didn't mention is the animation gets janky as it goes on.
God, I
And-
forgot about that because I got so distracted by everything else.
And
Yeah,
I kind
you're
of thought
right.
the animation was janky right off the bat.
No, it was just
There's like long montages of still images, and
yeah,
it's there.
it was pretty pretty. It was pretty pretty.
It doesn't
It was
su- it
pretty
doesn't-
in the beginning.
It doesn't suck. It's not Blood of Wars.
No, they made smart choices and used some montages in the beginning. Later on, it just gets off modeling and wonky, really inconsistent. And there are just various choices that the characters make, even looking at it from a character perspective, that are like, eh. So I'm gonna give it 4 Suwa is bro out of 5. And then that averages out to 4.5
that's fair.
out of 5. So